Alright guys, so I'm going to be showing you how to replace the CPU in a Dell Optiplex 745. Though this also works for an Optiplex 380 or like a 755 or any other similar model. So let's get right into it. In order to do this, you're going to need a Phillips head screwdriver, the processor itself, some thermal compound, some isopropyl alcohol, or if you don't have these two things, you can just take anything that scrapes, for example a ruler like this one will do. Start off by placing the right side of the computer facing up. Then, pull the plastic tab at the top back of the computer until the side panel pops out. Then pull off the side panel. Now, disconnect the gray ribbon cable going over top of the black plastic inside the case, though some models may not have this. Now you can see two screws on either side of the black plastic, here and here. Now turn the screws counterclockwise until they feel very loose, but keep in mind that these screws are not meant to leave the black housing. When you've loosened both screws, pull the black plastic shroud up and backwards, like this. The shroud is now connected with a hinge-like device. Pull the shroud forward to remove it from the computer. You now have access to the CPU. Push down and left on the retention arm to unlatch it like so. Lift up the metal frame around the CPU and remove the CPU from the socket carefully by using the bottom and top edge. This is your old processor. If you'd like to store it, put it in an anti-static bag so it won't get damaged. If you have some thermal compound with you and you want to store this processor, you probably want to clean it off. You can do this by placing a couple drops of isopropyl alcohol on the metal part and gently rubbing it around with a paper towel. However, if you don't have thermal compound, this is where the ruler may come in handy. You can use the ruler to try to scrape off any old thermal compound so that we can use it when we put in the new CPU. Once again, if you have new thermal compound, you're going to want to take the old stuff off of the heatsink. But if you don't have new thermal compound, keep the old stuff on the heatsink. Now it's time to bring out the new CPU. Handle it only by the sides. And if it's dirty or has markings on it like this one, clean it off also with isopropyl alcohol, just like you did for when you were taking off the thermal compound. Install the new CPU by moving it straight down into the socket, just like you did with the old one. Before you put in the CPU, make sure that the notches on the CPU coincide with the plastic bits on the socket, like seen here. Now you'll want to lower the metal frame back down onto the CPU and relatch the retention arm. Make sure when you close the retention arm that the bottom part of it is actually over top of the frame and not below it. Now, squirt some new thermal compound onto the CPU, about the size of a grain of rice and in the center. If you don't have new thermal compound, try to put on the old stuff you got from the old CPU. If you weren't able to collect any off the old CPU, then just put the heatsink down with whatever was already applied to it. Now reinsert the plastic shroud back into its hinges and roll it down like you did before. Tighten up the screws again and replace the gray ribbon cable. Now all you have left to do is to close up the case. This can be done by inserting the bottom end first and then clicking the top end into place. And alright, you're done. Alright guys, thanks for watching. If you thought this was the worst video you've ever seen, then hit that dislike button. But if you enjoyed it, like the video, subscribe, and hit the bell icon to get notified about future videos.